Hi, this is Kylie Koo. Welcome to my studio. So, as we're still in March, we are continuing the theme of creative envelopes in the Mixed Media Emporium that I co-host with Nina Rybina. And there'll be a link to that group below. It's a group where we give prompts, and that's the type of work we ask people to share in the group. Anything they do relating to the prompts. It doesn't have to be the prompt for that month. It can be for a previous month if they want to. So, this month, as I say, creative envelopes, and thank you to all of you that have been following my progress with the envelope journal that I made last week. And I've made several videos through the week doing pages in the journal. So thanks so much for all the lovely comments and positive feedback that I've been receiving from you. I'm glad so many of you enjoyed this at this difficult time for us all. So today I want to continue the theme, and sorry I didn't manage to get a video out for Saturday. I just had a lot of things on the day that I would have filmed it, so I'm doing a bit of a catch up now. I've still got that main cover to decorate, but what I want to do today is to make some journal cards to go inside the journal, and one for each pocket. So what I've done is I am just going to do some kind of collage. In fact, I'm just going to take some magazine images and stick them down. So I've pulled out a number of magazines that I've had for quite some time. These are magazines that I don't buy very often, but when I do, I never throw them out because they've got nice images, and I always think I'll save these for that special project. And you know, today I thought, just use them. It wasn't even a case of, thinking about my kind of junk, use it or lose it. It was just a case of why keep a hold of these. They've got nice images, you want to use them. A lot of them have this kind of positive vibe to them, and that's what I want this journal to be. So aside from the magazines, I'm going to be using some kind of cardstock. I think this is actually a piece of watercolour paper, simply a glue stick. I will use some ink. I don't use that black one that I have there. A black pen and a tool to round the corners on the cards. Now, if you didn't have collage material, you could do the cards in the exact same way as the journal's been done. So just collaging bits and pieces down and painting over if you wanted. I was going to do that to begin with, but as I say, I wanted to use these. Now, you could make a frame if you wanted to look at how they would fit onto the cards. If you've watched Nina in the past, she sometimes does a frame. I've done it occasionally, but I'm mainly just going to eyeball it. So what I'm going to do is go through my magazines and pull out a number of images that I like. And I guess because it's spring here in the Northern Hemisphere, and because it's starting to feel spring in the garden and the surroundings, I'm very much drawn to these flower images. And to me, they're lovely. I've thought about using them before, but as I say, they almost became precious. It was like, why am I going to use them? They're so nice. But today was the day to use them. So I go through and pull them out. Now, one of the things I tend to do is to always make things like journal cards the same size for going in a journal. Don't know why, it's just one of those little things. But today I thought, no, I'm going to break that habit and I'm going to make them different sizes because the images I want to use are different sizes. But what I'm going to do to begin with is just to cut two large pieces of card, because two of those images I want to use most of the length of them. So my envelopes are more or less just over 4 inches by just short of 9.5. So I think I decide to make them around about, I think it's 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So I want to make two long cards, and I'm just using my paper cutter here. Obviously it could be done with scissors. This is quite thick paper, so it was easier for me to do it this way. So I'm going to do two of these. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. So I'm cutting my two main cards, and I want to put one in the front pocket and one in the back pocket. So I'll have two full length cards for those pockets. That will help make the journal a little bit firmer as well, although to be honest, these envelopes with all the collage and the paint on them, it's already pretty firm. And I just want to say, you know, a number of you who are in the Mixed Media Emporium and sharing your journals, a couple of you have said that you know, they're imperfect, things aren't quite right. Well, believe me, my journal is imperfect. It doesn't quite sit right. There's a little bit of paper coming off the front, but you know what? I love it for that. For me, it's all the better. It's like a well-worn jumper, you know, one of those jumpers that you have that you never want to get rid of. You just love it. Well, to me, this journal feels like that. It's going to be a well-worn journal that will get plenty of use. And that really is why I've spent... It's not taken a lot of time to create it, really, all in all, but that's why I've spent a bit of time on this one, because it feels like it's going to be special for me. So I'm just cutting the images just a little bit bigger than the actual cards, because I want to make sure that the image covers it, basically. So here we are. I have a piece of card for each. Some of the images are a little bit bigger than others, so I'll just need to decide how I want to place those on the cards. And I've even used one of the little offcuts there. Like I say, I'm not being too precious about the size of the cards. It's more about getting the images down that I want. So I'm just going to move those to the side, and I will start to show you what I'm going to do as part of the next stage. And this is really just to start gluing them down. Now I need to find something to glue on here. I don't want it to go right down on top of that paper because I know it will lift the paint on the underneath. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit again. I always think that I'm working at, you know, quite fast, and then I see myself on camera and I realise that I really work quite slowly, and that's not a problem. I just enjoy every single step, and yeah, that's just the way I work, I guess. So all I'm doing now is gluing down, and I start by gluing the card and then the background image, although I realise that this type of paper is gluing down very well, and I end up just gluing the card in the end. So just going to place that down. You'll see I've got a little bit of overhang. It just means that I've got that little bit of room to play with. Then I'm just going to take a bone folder, use a clean sheet of paper just over the top, just to make sure that the two pieces of paper are well adhered and that as far as possible there are no air bubbles in them. And I just do it on the back again, just making sure that it's well pressed together. And then what I'll do is the rest of the cards. So just showing you this one, it was much bigger, just checking which part of the image I want on, and I just kind of eyeballed it. I work that way a lot. Sometimes I do measure, but a lot of the time I just eyeball. So there we go, I know which part of the image I wanted to capture there. And just the same process of making sure it's well stuck down and trying not to get any glue on either side of the card. Inevitably, little bits go on, but I'm able to wipe them off. So now it's a case of going round and just cutting off the excess. And again, I do that with all of them, and then I'm going to round the corners. Now, if you don't have a corner rounder, then you can take something like a small coin, put it up to the edge, just draw around the edge of it with a pencil, and then just cut it with scissors. I just find this easier, especially when I'm working with kind of thicker paper like this was. And I'm also not terribly good with scissors. So now that those are done, I'm just taking a piece of sandpaper, and this is just going to take off any of the kind of little rough bits of paper. If you've watched Nina for a while, you'll see that she does this sometimes with a kind of nail file, one of those kind of emery board things. If you've watched me for a while, you'll realise that my nails haven't seen an emery board of any description for many's a long year. Anyway, I'm going to go around all the edges. It doesn't leave it entirely smooth, but I'm quite happy with that, because what I want to do now is to go round it with some ink, just round the edges. Now you could, if you want, put something on the front of the cards, be it a quote or just some words. As I say, I'm trying to make these kind of very positive. I want it to give off a positive vibe. At this stage, I'm not sure what words I would want on the front, so I actually decide to leave it. But here I am, I'm going to use the Antique Linen Distress ink. And all I'm going to do is to go right round the card. I'm not going on too heavy. I may in the future go back and put a little bit more on, but really all I wanted to do was to get rid of that white edge. And I just go round it on the front, and then I go round it on the back. And I do that with all the cards. Now these cards could be used for any sort of journaling. I want to use them for something very specific, and I'm going to write some titles on the back of them. I was just thinking again about did I want anything on the front, but I'm going to leave that meantime. As I say, I think I'll be using this journal for quite some time to come, so you know, I'll get to the point where I think it's finished, but meantime it's not. So on my first card, I'm going to make this a gratitude card. So I am going to write all the things that I am grateful for. Now you could do this in very fancy writing, you could type it up on a computer and print it out, you could cut words out of books, whatever way suits you. I just decided to do it this way, and I'm just going to give you some examples. I'm not going to complete these in full, I will do this kind of later on, but you know, I'm adding things like family and friends, and you know, for all the public services just now, all the people that are caring for us here in the UK, for the NHS, for the police, for the fire service, for all those who are still going out to work in the stores, in the grocery stores, who are delivering food, everybody. So I am grateful for all of that, and I will add to that list, and that's why I made it one of the long tags. So my next long tag, I'm going to add to this one positive quotes, and I'm just going to take one of the quotes that I saw in the magazine when I was going through it. I had thought about cutting it out and adding it to a card, and I might do that in future, but I'm just going to write this one out just now. It always seems impossible until it's done. And that's Nelson Mandela. And that again seemed very pertinent for this time. You know, things seem a little bit impossible just now, but once it's done, it will feel different. And I'm going to add that, and when I fill that card, I'll make some more cards, the same with the gratitude one, and I am going to keep listing everything that I'm grateful for and all those positive quotes so that I can draw on this when I need to. That's really what it's about. It's there as a resource for me to draw on. So the next card I'm doing is Today I Will. A to-do list sounds a little bit formal, so I've named it Today I Will. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to create art. And I'm going to try and do all these things daily. If I don't manage it, you know, it's no big issue. But these are the things I'm going to aim to do daily. And to phone or message a friend, just to reach out, especially for anyone that might be on their own just now, or might just need that little bit of support. Next one, I'm just double checking what I've done already and trying to remember what I had in my head. Got to think about it. Thinking about we'll add something on there. So this one is, I will look after myself by. And this really is a self-care card. So what I'm going to put onto this one are the types of things that I can do to look after myself. My kind of own self-care package. So it's going to be about relaxing, it's going to be about listening to music, and I think importantly, it's going to be about sometimes switching off the TV or the news and just not feeling overwhelmed by some of the stuff that's there. You know, certainly here, some of the news reports, it's the same things. It's good to get a daily update, but sometimes during the course of the day, it's the same thing we're hearing time over and over. So I'm going to take a break from that. This one is an important one, and you'll see I hesitate a bit on this. I plan to. And I think this is an important one because at the moment, for me anyway, it's quite hard to see past the current situation. And my cards so far are very much about drawing on them in the here and now. You know, the things that I need to be doing just now to look after myself, the things I want to show gratitude for. But I think it's also important to look to the future. And it took me a few minutes to think of even a couple of things. But I plan to walk the West Highland Way. I've done parts of it before, but not the complete thing. So I'm going to do that. I want to visit friends in the USA. I also want to visit some friends in Australia and New Zealand, and I want to do more travelling in Europe. So it's important that I note down for the future the things that I want to do. And this last card, smaller one, just breathe. And you know, it's for you to put on these cards if you choose to do them, whatever you want to put on them. You know, you can use them as journaling cards, you can record your thoughts, or you can do something like me and just have them there as a resource to draw on as part of this little journal. So that's basically it. That's my cards for this week. Quite an easy project, a nice little project to do. And I'll be back to do the cover in a video next week. Again, I'll probably make it a non-talking one and just put some relaxing music to it because many of you seem to enjoy that as well. So please remember, Nina will have a video this week, so I'll leave a link to her video below. And once again, thanks for all your support and encouragement during this journal, and I hope you enjoy these journal cards that I've made to go with it. So as always, thanks so much for watching, take care, and hope to see you next time. Bye for now.